Hey everyone, and welcome back to the channel. So today we get to take a look at the all-new Audi SQ5. Huge shout out to Audi Northlake for providing this SUV for me today. Take a look at their website, that link is down in the description. This model is finished off in a glacier white metallic and it has an MSRP just over $72,000. Now this is powered by the 3-liter turbocharged V6. It's paired to a 7-speed automatic transmission and pumps out 362 horsepower, 406 pound-feet of torque. That power is sent through the Quattro all-wheel drive system, propelling this 4,500-pound SUV from 0 to 60 in 4.6 seconds. It has a top speed of 155 miles an hour. It also has a fuel capacity of 18.5 gallons, and you'll expect to see 19 miles per gallon in the city and 24 out on the highway. This also has a wheelbase of 111 inches. Its overall length is 184.3. It has a width of 74.5, a height of 65.5, and its ground clearance measures in just over 8 inches. Now, as we take a look at the exterior styling for this latest model, you'll notice up front, there's a new Audi design for the logo. There's also a forward-facing camera, an S badge on that passenger side, and then for this particular model, there's a lot of brushed accents. It's on the entire hexagonal surround, along with trim accents within the grille. There's parking sensors too, and then plenty of cutouts to provide additional cooling. Now this also has a really slim set of headlights along with the turn signals in the upper section. Everything is LED, of course. And then you will notice more brushed accents for the inlets on both sides, large inlet in the middle along with a sensor for distance pacing. You'll notice there's 2 located down below there. And then some very nice lines that come down the hood just to give it a great look. Now as we work our way to the side, this model has a really nice set of wheels along with having red calipers just to give it a great contrast. You'll notice there's body colored fender flares as well, and then some more brushed accents both in the lower section as well as for the mirror caps, which are power folding. They also feature a camera and a turn signal too. Now this also has a full moonroof up top, there's roof racks as well, and then all the window trim is finished off in that brushed accent just to match nicely. And then in back, there's a small body colored spoiler, there's the third brake light along with the wiper blade, the new Audi badge there, and a very slim design for the LED bar that runs between the taillights. Gives it a great look. There's also a backup camera, all the parking sensors, more brushed accents in the lower section, along with having the quad tip dual exhaust, and with the hitch, this can tow right around 4,400 pounds. Now you can use the button on the key fob or the electronic release underneath to gain access to the cargo space, where this does have the power liftgate. And then once in back, for this smaller size SUV, it actually has a good bit of space. As you can tell, there's a few floor mats in here at the moment, but you can also lift up the floor where you do have additional space up underneath. So you could remove this cover if you needed space for taller items, making it very practical. Now this also has an adaptive suspension, so you can raise and lower the rear end of this vehicle depending on the items that you were loading in. That will give you a lower load height just to make it much easier. There's also a 12-volt, you have a net along with a strap there. There's a first aid kit as well. You do have an area where you can place this cover here too, so you can put that in place. And you can also fold down the back seats by pulling on these tabs here. They will go farther down, which I'll go around and do, and that just gives you a lot more interior space, just depending on the items that you have. And then there's 2 buttons up top where you can just close that liftgate or lock the vehicle. Now, if you do lock the vehicle, just grab any door handle and you can easily unlock it. Where this interior has very nice materials. You notice all of the Alcantara brushed accents. There's lock and unlock, Bang & Olufsen for the audio, and then some storage in that lower section. And then with these seats, you can lock them down so they're almost flat. But just to give you a look from this angle, you have a lot more space. Now you do have to release the seat, so just pull on that lever there, and then you can bring it up into this position here. And then you can use that lever to fold it down or recline it. Where these seats have leather and Alcantara for the insert, so a really nice design. Now once we hop in at 5'10", I have a good bit of space. There's storage nets behind both front seats. You have auxiliaries, vents, even temperature adjustments, and these seats also slide forwards and backwards. So if you need a little bit more cargo space or legroom, you have those adjustments, which is nice. And then at my height, I have maybe an inch or so of headroom, and I can slightly recline the seat to get a little bit more headroom and a little bit more comfort as well. So for its smaller size, it makes it very nice. Now you do have an armrest with cup holders in the middle, and you can also fold down this middle seat individually. So if you need to use that for whatever reason, you have the option to. And then you'll notice you have those cargo windows there to easily see around the pillar in the back. As we work our way up front, you'll notice more of the Alcantara, and then there's this panel here that has a lot of controls. There's lock and unlock, your headlight adjustments, you have all of your mirror controls, memory seats, and then the child lockouts. Window controls are behind that, there's a liftgate release, and then storage down below. And then you do get power operating front seats with the S badge up top there. And then it's very easy to hop into the front, where you have a pretty large grab handle here going around the window controls there. And then once inside, we have a brand new design for this steering wheel. It has a flat top and bottom look to it. You'll notice some more nice accents along with perforated and solid leather. There's paddle shifters on both sides too. But let's start this up and take a listen to how this sounds. And coming back to the digital gauge cluster now, you can go through this info using these controls on the left side. Now, when the vehicle was shut off, this was just a solid gloss black panel. So it's nice that they illuminate, of course, when the vehicle is on. So you can use these controls here and go through the left and the right side of the screen. So using the control on the far left, I can scroll through all of this information here, and then I can use the button on the right side and go through info on that right side. So you have a good bit that you can go through. You can also click on view and change the gauge cluster slightly depending on if you want to see all this information or you want a little bit more of a clean view. Now, this also has a control for the head-up display. So you can actually go through a few settings. Hopefully you can see that. You have a minimal display, a media player, and then navigation and distance pacing. And you can also scroll up and down to look at some of this information too, so that is nice. On the right side, there's the heated steering wheel. You have volume tuning, Bluetooth and voice commands, and then a favorites control too. Now back on the left, there's cruise control with the distance pacing. You also have some storage on that left side. Really nice design for this material underneath one air vent. And then as we work our way to the infotainment system, you have quite a lot you can go through. You have fixed info on this left side as well, so you will always be able to get to that information. You can pull up all of these icons where there's Apple CarPlay, Android Auto. You can get into quite a lot there. You can also pull up the navigation, get into your phone when you have that paired. You have various settings here that you can go into and configure depending on what works for you. There's also a store that you can gain access to, and then when you push on this vehicle, this is how you can get through a lot more info. So you can get into your head-up display. You can also look at your brightness for the gauge cluster there. You can get into your lights, you have service, and then you have some more settings here that you can go through to set everything up the way that you would like. There's also another audio adjustment that you can gain access to. There's also some driver profiles that you can monitor, and then in the lower section, everything is fixed. So you can easily get into the heated seats along with your temperature adjustments. You do have a menu for the climate controls, so you can go through all of this, and you can even adjust the rears from up front, which is nice to see. And then you have a few other controls right in the middle. You have more of this trim accent underneath it, along with two air vents, and then you have a physical button for your volume, along with engine start-stop, and a shortcut to drive select. So you can get into the various driving modes depending on the throttle response that you would like and the lift of the vehicle. So you can adjust the lift yourself by using that control there. There's an engine start stop feature, traction control. You get wireless charging with auxiliaries, and then there's cup holders. You do have some more safety features that you can get into, along with a shortcut to the camera system. You have park, which is also the e-brake, and then when you push this forwards, that is how you get into reverse. So you can bring up the backup camera here. You have a few different angles that you can get into, and you have that top-down view, and then when you put it into drive, you have the forward-facing camera. Now you also have a little bit of storage in the armrest. There's also some ambient lighting that runs through the middle of this brushed accent. It's also on the base here, so it starts there and it goes around the entire base of the windshield there. And then over on the passenger side, you have this gloss black trim accent, which can be a screen depending on the trim level that you go with. And then here's a look at visibility, where you have a good bit to see over that right side, and then you can easily see over the left side too. So you have a lot of glass for this model. And then up top, you have adjustments for the sunshade and some dome lights too. As we set up behind the wheel now for this all-new SQ5, a couple weeks ago, I got to drive the Q5. So now we have a lot more power, a little bit more of a performance-oriented model with this version here. So let's go ahead and put it into dynamic mode, because as you heard, the exhaust gets a little bit louder, and then we do have the paddle shifters, which you can use. So we'll go into second gear here, give it a little acceleration. definitely sounds good. Not crazy loud, as you would expect from a luxury vehicle like this, but the paddles are very responsive. This is a really nice transmission for this particular vehicle. Well, this is a really nice new redesign for the USA market. This has been something that's been available in different markets, so it's finally coming to the United States. I know that's been confusing for a lot of people because you would think all of them would come out at the same time, but different markets do get different models before other markets. So it's a little bit late to the USA market, but I think this is a really nice design for this model. I really like the steering wheel too. Gives it a great look. You have good notches here on both sides and then easy access to the paddles, of course. It's also a very comfortable vehicle to drive, especially with the adaptive suspension. I think that's something that really any luxury vehicle should have, or if you're buying one, you should definitely opt for it. It is going to give you a lot more comfort over bumps, and you have the addition of getting higher ground clearance just depending on your driving situation. If you're going on some gravel or something and you need a little bit more ground clearance, it's definitely beneficial for that. And especially with towing as well. This isn't something people are probably going to use to tow, but if you have to put a small trailer on the back, it will help keep it level, just give you a little bit more confidence while you are towing any trailer behind this. And then as far as the driver's seat here goes, you do have a height adjustment, which is nice. So I'm 5'10", and currently I have maybe 2.5 inches or so of headroom, and I can put this all the way down. So you could be probably 6 feet tall and still fit comfortably in this seat, which is nice to see. And as you would expect, super quiet. You have a lot of visibility for this smaller vehicle. And then we also have the performance too. Handles well around those turns. Going to give you a little bit of that performance, almost like a light model version. And so you can have a little bit of sporty fun with it. And it's just going to be a blast to drive. Now, one thing that I do want to address from previous comments on the Q5, this passenger screen on the passenger side there, it is just a gloss black trim accent if you don't opt for the screen. So I could see it being kind of out of place if you don't get the screen. With the screen, however, obviously it's going to make it look a little bit nicer. Maybe it would have been cool to see the screen continue from driver's side to passenger side, kind of like in the new Cadillac Escalade where it goes from door panel to door panel. So I can kind of see the argument against maybe if it wasn't the screen, maybe have a different color, maybe the brushed accent would look a little bit nicer, but overall it's a good design. Maybe if you could get some different options though for the trim cover there, I think that would be cool to see. And we're still in dynamic mode, second gear, here we go. And just a mild acceleration, we're up to speed. You can feel a little bit of the shifts just to give you some more engagement there, but definitely a quick shifting transmission. And of course we can just put it back into the normal driving mode and let the vehicle do the shifting. You just do that by pulling backwards on the gear selector down below. But this is what it's like to be behind the wheel for the new SQ5. We'll let the vehicle do the shifting for this acceleration. And then of course you have different driving modes here that will quiet the exhaust, it will adjust the height, and it will adjust your throttle response too. So just depending on how you would like to drive. I think this is a really nice new model for the US market. This particular model here has a lot of nice options in the Premium Plus package. So that's about $3,500 just to give you some of the tech features and some very nice materials. So of course, you don't have to spec it like this, and obviously you can go with a Q5 too, just depending on your price point and what you were looking to get. But I think this is a well-balanced vehicle, and you do have some good competitors to it as well. But for the interior here, I think it's a really nice layout. Gives you a good combo between the tech features. There's some physical buttons down below. I could see the argument with the climates here, but a lot of vehicles are putting that fixed screen in the lower section. So at least you don't have to hunt for them. They're always going to be visible. They're just in the screen, of course, rather than an actual knob. But this is a really nice vehicle to drive. It's super quiet and comfortable. And as far as the turning radius goes, we don't have rear wheel steering. This is a smaller SUV, so that's not really needed. And in terms of its maneuverability here, pretty tight for the steering there, which is great for parking lot situations, things like that. And then even in the balance setting, we can get back up to speed here nice and easily. But that is going to wrap it up for the all-new Audi SQ5. Once again, huge shout out to Audi Northlake for providing this SUV for me today. Take a look at their website, give this video a huge thumbs up, and consider smashing that subscribe button so you can stay up to date with our daily uploads. I will see you all in the next video.